What is going on, everyone? This is Peter from Good E-Reader. Today's going to be a talky kind of video because we are going to show you the parallels between the latest 2022 Kindle Basic and the Onyx Poke 5. You might be wondering why we're doing this because they're both e-readers. They're actually not. If you are thinking that these are both e-readers, you would be heavily mistaken because, look, they look like Kindles. They're Kindles right next to each other. However, when you go home, this is still a Kindle. When you go home on this, it's not. This is a full-blown Android tablet with Google Play, Android operating systems, and every single application under the sun. This is a fully loaded Android tablet. The exact same thing as an LCD LED tablet, except the only difference is the screen is not LCD. It is e-paper. And actually, this is the exact same screen as this unit from the exact same company. There might be some subtle differences in what they kind of bake on from factory and the things in front of it. For example, this is a sunken screen and bezel. This is a flush screen and bezel. They both have capacitive. They neither have Wacom. So they are the exact same EPD, which is the electronic paper display. Let's get into this because this is really important. Unfortunately, in this comparison, we can't show things like videos and we can't show web browsing when it comes to high-speed kind of refreshy things. We'll show a light website on the Kindle, but for the most part, you have zero accessibility to multimedia in any way, shape, or form on the Kindle. But as you can see on this, that's a video of me walking around because this is a fully fledged tablet. You can watch videos, you can watch them upwards of 19, maybe 21-ish frames per second. Nothing gets lost in the imagery when you're trying to pull videos and understanding what's happening. This also has OTG down here, which means you can plug in USB-powered headphones and speakers, and you can connect it via Bluetooth and watch videos and download movies and stream Facebook rolls and Instagram reels and all sorts of stuff because that has the full ability to do so. This is just simply an ebook reader. Now you do have some settings under here and you can go to the experimental browser. And there is a reason they call it experimental, because it just never really works properly. Nothing loads, and it just takes forever to use websites out of, say, Wikipedia, Google, Yahoo. Anything you do outside of that just kind of feels broken, whereas on the Onyx, it's more of an instant kind of service. It's more flexible, it's more instant, it has just better services involved. And if you don't like the Neo browser, you can download Chrome, Mozilla, any basically Opera, any APK you want, because this has Google Play, which means you get millions and millions of apps. As you can see, this one still hasn't even loaded yet, and we're on the same internet and everything, so we're just gonna quit on that. Outside of that, you will see that we have Google Play, and this is very important because if you guys are thinking of which one to buy, it is critical that you note this. You can turn this into a Kindle, and we'll talk about that in a second, but you can't turn this into anything that it's not. And you'll see here, I can download Kobo, I can download Barnes & Noble, I can download Google Books on this. I can just utilize Google Play and go over to Boox, and now I have an entirely new ecosystem. I can change my ecosystem every 5 seconds if I choose to. I don't have to be locked into the Amazon one. Now you also might be asking, why does this not look as good as this all the time? It actually does and doesn't at the same time. For example, if I'm in normal mode, it looks identical. They both have the exact same pixel density, and it looks fantastic. There's no downside to the way it looks, but there is an upside to this that displays itself as a downside, and that is when you go into X mode. When you go into X mode, you get the ability to get smooth scrolling, a lot of staining in the background, but it becomes very fast. And I can watch videos on this now. I can watch downloaded streamed movies on Amazon Prime if I wish, and I have all the flexibility to go to the e-ink center, adjust the dark enhancement, the light color filter, and go to any one of the 4 speed modes I feel necessary. Now, we can't draw any more conclusions or parallels between these because there is nothing else we can connect. So we are going to be now turning this into a Kindle for the remainder of the review and diving into the content we see here. And this is the exact same account with the exact same content that we're going to be looking at between these two. You can see the way it's formatted right out of the gates is kind of different. Amazon itself seems to put its own little spin on it, whereas the Amazon app is going to be the exact same thing on this, as it is going to be on your phone, as it is going to be on your tablet. It's going to just look a little bit different, and the functions will be different as well. To keep this completely fair, we are going to change the fonts to match each other as best we possibly can, and this will be a good chance to look at the fonts and the way you change things. So we're going to go over to font, and we're going to see if we can match these. We do have Booker Lee on both of these. I am going to, however, expand this a little bit by going to the font size and making it bigger so we can match the exact same height and everything else. Now that we have these looking pretty much identical, you will see that the Kindle looks a little bit better. What is this attributed to? It is because of the fact that it doesn't have an additional layer up top, and we've showcased this before using the exact same device, for example, like the Leaf 2 in black and white. We showed this. You can check our YouTube channel. You can check the video card up above. You will see that sunken screen and bezels have less things on top of the actual EPD, which is the electronic paper display. They have things like a layer of glass, a screen protector film that they bake on from factory. So there's a lot more hindrances in the way. This looks a little tiny bit more cloudy, but this looks right up to the surface. It feels like you're touching all the characters. This one just feels like there's a noticeable gap between what you see here. Now, we will say something else, is that when you turn pages, you'll see that they're kind of different. This one's very sloshy and buggy, and this one's more of an instant kind of wipe, and that's because this is refined to use the Kindle app and the Kindle app only. There are some ways to mitigate this by going over to here and then going over to more. You can scroll down and see if we can turn some things off as best we can. For example, page turn animations off or on. If it's off or on, it will look a little bit different. Now there's another thing you can do, and that is to find a mode that better suits your liking. You don't have to go to X mode every time. Maybe we can go to A2 mode to speed things up, and then that's looking a little bit better, but you still get this Amazon tablet-esque kind of bounce back where it has a little bit of a recoil when it hits the end. You see that? But the beauty is I have a tablet in my hands here, so I can kind of move it around and peek, whereas you can't really do that on the Kindle. In fact, if you hold anywhere on the page and move a certain amount of distance, it will turn pages regardless, like that. You see that? Or over there, like that. You see that? So there's a little tiny bit of a learning curve on this guy compared to the Onyx, but again, it's not going to be night and day. So let's go back and turn this to HD mode or normal mode, because that's the most fair. What can we do with these guys? If we tap the top, you get some things over here. You get X-ray, you get vocabulary builder, notes and highlights about this book, etc. On the Onyx, it's more of a standard application experience, so everything's going to be in a different place, and there's going to be a lot more options: flashcards, word runners, popular highlights, recommend this book, or even share your progress via different applications like Facebook, Twitter, anything you want, WhatsApp, Facebook Messenger, Kakao. There's a ton more features on this just inherently because it's using an Android tablet as its backbone, whereas this is more scaled down, streamlined, and simplistic. They do strip away a lot of the things you don't need, that's subjective, from the Kindle app, because if I were to download the Kindle app on my phone, it would be the exact same thing. If I use this, go over to the Kindle app, it's going to be the same kind of experience as I'm going to have on the Onyx, whereas you will never get the Amazon Kindle device style layout on anything except a Kindle. And I'm talking Paperwhite, Basic, Oasis, Scribe, and the backdated ones like the Touch, the Voyage, etc. So that's the reality of the situation. Now let's go over to a manga to read a graphic novel and see how they stack up. They're going to be a touch different in a few ways. So again, same screen, same content, etc. Now something changes when you hold the side of the Kindle, and we'll show you in a second. If I hold the side of the Kindle app, nothing happens. I can just simply move it along, peek to the next page, and away you go. If I tap the side, it's going to turn a page, and a page turn animation triggers. On the Kindle, look what happens. If you don't know what that is, you might remember this from 2014. This is the rapid page turn engine pulled from the Amazon Kindle Manga model that was exclusively only in Japan. It's this power slider where you can choose the rate in which you can change the pages. In fact, this is one of the only ways you can ever force push a Kindle into an A2 mode. And what we mean by that is this guy right down here, A2. You will see that when I'm in A2 mode on this one, it looks vaguely familiar to this, and that's because this is going into an A2 mode. It is not universally controllable like the Onyx. I can't go to a web browser and magically trigger this A2 mode and suddenly watch videos. Although I kind of feel like if it was controllable, it might be capable of that. But in order to retain quality, they do not allow you to harness that. But this is a speed mode for all intents and purposes. Everything is diluted, but it's very quick. And this is a way to scrub through the manga so you don't have to go page by page and find out where you are. You don't get that on this, although you do get the same things like pinch and zoom on both of these, and they're both pretty much equally fine. The Onyx might be even a little bit quicker in that department. The last thing before we give our final take is PDFs. You don't want to use PDFs on either of these. 6 inches are so small, they're smaller than smartphones nowadays. It's just not really worth it. You'll see that they handle it very differently. You get a page turn animation on this, whereas this one is just standardized like that, kind of flashes. Now again, this is just the Amazon Kindle PDF, that's it. Whereas this, you can download Adobe Acrobat, you can download Moon Plus Reader, you can download any PDF software you want. You can go over to Google Play and just type in PDF, and the amount of things that show up is just kind of unparalleled because they do give you that option. You can choose anything you want, ones that have ways to edit, ones that have ways to share. It's not even close the amount of office-related productivity apps you can download on this, whereas Kindle, you're kind of stuck with just this, and that's the way it goes. Everyone, we don't want to scare anyone, and we don't want to say this is better than that, that is better than this. This is $100 USD average depending on where you're buying it from, but that's the average, is about 100, 110. This is 180 USD. So there is a distinct difference, but like we always say, if you guys are spending your money and you see these two devices and you say, well, you know, I see Kindles everywhere, but what's that? Why does this do so much more than this? And this is exactly why. Because again, we have to really cram it in your guys' mind holes. This is not an e-reader. This is an ebook reader. You buy it, it's fairly cheap. You download books, you go to your library, you read books. You go to the store, you buy books. That's it. There's nothing else around this that it can do. In fact, depending on the region, you can't even have Bluetooth on it because it will lock you out and it won't have the ability to show you the Bluetooth symbol because you can't harness it. Whereas this one, where we currently are, you can do Kindle or the Audible store, so you can at least get some audiobooks. But the truth of the situation is, and it's completely honest, any possible thing you can do on this, you can do on this. And you can do 500 times, technically endless amount of times more things on this than you can on a Kindle. So if the price is a concern, obviously this is saving you money. It is significantly cheaper, and it will do exactly what you want with books, PDFs, manga, and a couple other things like newspapers and magazines. But this can do it all and more. And say you get tired of Kindle, you can download Barnes & Noble or Kobo or anything, or the Sony Reader Store. Whereas on Kindle, you are stuck. For GoodyReader.com, this is Peter.